it's a challenging day today, not because I'm here to present, I hope, but the weather outside is not in our favor, and I'm really grateful that you all made it. I texted my wife and I said, I'm ready to rock and roll. And she said, are there any people? And I said, yeah, 2 or 3. She said, not funny. So, I don't know. I thought that was really funny. Thank you so much. This presentation is actually a 3-hour presentation. No, I'm serious. I had this presentation in Lansing a couple of months ago, and I was going through it, and it took me 3 hours. I wiggled it down a bit. I will not be able to spend a lot of time on every and any slide, but the slides are available for you to look at them, and please feel free to download them and whatnot. So it's freeware. I love to share information and experiences. So I always start with this one, and that's for our dear friends who are project managers. Everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth. And I think that is pretty much how I feel as a PMO guy today, because we get hunted down so much that people say, like, you are a hindrance to our success. Ever heard anything like this? You guys are not flexible. You know, if you will just get out of my way, I could get this all done. And my question is, okay, how do we align the project management office and how do we make sure that we are relevant in the future? And little spoiler alert here, I think we are relevant even in 10 years from now. So don't worry too much, but we have to change. And this is what I want to talk about a little bit here on why we need to change and what needs to happen. I skipped the introduction here. So yes, I work for Our Daily Bread. I'm the VP of IS, and I'm also the VP of PMO. So I have two departments who report to me. They are not the same. They are not combined. I keep them separate. There is a reason for this, which we can talk about later on. So, is the PMO as we know it dead? And this is the agenda I'm going to zap through today. So what is our relevance in today's business world? What do we need to change and why? How to do it right? What if we do not change? How to overcome challenges? Why we are relevant. So I think an example of Salesforce implementation, which we are going through right now. We implement Salesforce in over 35 countries. And I'm in the midst of the rollout, so I just jumped off a meeting I had and I said, guys, go ahead. We do data conversion today for Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji. So I'm come here to do the presentation, then I go back. And then in 2 weeks, I head out to Australia to supervise the go live of Australia. So if I sound stressed, I am, okay? Anyway, everything changes and we look like fools is what I say and what I hear. You know, so we are focusing primarily on big multi-year projects. And I always tell my folks, yeah, it depends on how we do that. If we are in a room and we figure out what they want actually, and we go on and then develop and have ideas and whatnot, and we come out after 3 months and tell them, we have the answer. Might be that nobody is there anymore because the company wrapped up and moved to another place and they forgot us because we are not visible to the company. So that is one of the problems we have. We, as a PMO, are the be-all and do-all in regards to projects. We own the blasted thing. They hand it off to us and they say, your project, deal with it. And you go like, what? But that's the tendency we had. We attracted projects and we kept them for ourselves. And that's what I said, we own the blasted thing. And when we talk about projects, it's more about costs, timelines, and managing resources, that's what we do as project managers. And nobody gives a rip about this unless the doo-doo hits the fan, then they come running to us and ask us, why did you not deliver? Why is the project behind? And we are explaining why. That's what we do. So we run reports and talk to stakeholders, etc., etc. So what is the relevance of a project management office? Because if I list all that stuff before, it looks like we are a useless bunch of people who was just in the way of everybody else to do what they actually want to do, and we try to guide them down the road, and they say, I don't need that, I don't need that. Just get it done. So we need to figure out how we can support the new business models. How do we bring the wealth of the know-how we have to the table as a value proposition? It is the change we see in today's business world is not something that is going to blow over. It's not the new fashion, and don't worry about it. In fall, the new fashion comes out. Another new fashion comes out, and we just stand your turf and don't move. It will be gone. It's a radical change. And a radical change. The culture in the business is not the same as it was 2-3 years ago, and it will never go back to that. It will get more change and more change as we go, and that's scary. For if I call some of my people turtles. They get there in a straight line, but they are somewhat slow because they do everything perfectly all right. And if you are on that track, you're going to be too slow, and all the rabbits run around you and pass you by. So, as with every change, there is a tremendous amount of opportunities for us in the way we do things and in the way we support the business. And if you're on that road, and I'm on that road for quite a while now, the sentiments towards the project management office changes, and you are seen as a vital part of the business, but you have to do a couple of things which I want to talk about here. We need to move now from a waterfall project management office to a complete agile project management office. And I mean not start thinking about it. You need to get going with this. So here are the benefits of when we change. We need to lead the trend. Ever heard of it's best to have the enemy in your own camp, because that way you can control it. If you are fighting the enemy, you will lose. But if he's in your own camp, it's much better and much easier to manage that. And we need to change before the business figures out and tells us to change. We need to lead that by saying, we need to adjust. We need to adjust, and this is how. We can transform the business if we are considered change agents. Okay? We need to get it right, and we have very little time. So, what do we need to change and why? And I call it the call of the day. Today, you get smacked with words like Kanban, lean, agile, safe. It's not any one of them, ladies and gentlemen, it's all of them at the same time. So I have business guys, when I told them, we started lean in 2013 with an excessive mode. Then we went into agile. Then we talked about DevOps. And now we talk about safe. And one of the business guys told me, can you not figure out which one you want to do? And I said, hey, this is not one instead of the other one. This is building up. So you have the mastery of Kanban first, then you do the mastery of Lean on top of that, then you do the mastery. You have to step it up. It's not, if you are lean, doesn't mean that you are going to be successful in today's business. You need to move on, but not move on and forget the other thing, move on and keep the other good thing which you have going here. Just to be sure that we know what we are talking about, here are the terms. Kanban is a pull system. Okay, instead of pushing work into a team, the team pulls the work. And if you don't know what I mean by that, just try to push a rope. And then try to pull the rope. And you see a huge difference. That's what this is all about. Lean is optimize processes and take out waste. Waste is time, process steps, rework, work in process, and so on and so forth. Agile. Move things to the system fast and in increments. So that is absolutely running against the PMO waterfall scenario where you have big chunks and you say bye-bye, see you in 6 months. Not going to happen. Okay? It's not going to happen. It's time capsules, and we have 6 weeks. Every 6 weeks we deliver something. Safe. Safe is what I'm going to talk a little bit more today, is a 3-layer approach to projects. Well, projects in hyphens, because there are no more projects for me. So project manager of no projects is kind of a interesting idea, but doesn't matter. We have portfolios, we have programs, and we have teams. Okay? I'm going to explain this in a second. So how do we do it right? So this is the safe chart. And if your head starts spinning, don't worry about it. It was spinning for me too when I saw it first. We're going to simplify that, and you have to simplify it so that it works for your company. But in general, you have the portfolio layer, which is the top layer. That's where I see the project management office do their magic, okay? Because we need to interact with the top management, we need to squeeze everything in, we need to talk about what's first, what's second, what's next, what I cannot do this without this getting done either. So this is more the strategic level. And then the program level, I will talk about it afterwards, but the program level is more along the lines of what work has to be done in different areas to support an initiative. And then the team level is what I call the shop floor. Okay? My developers are working on the shop floor. So what do you not want on the shop floor? Constant change. You do not want the outset changing constantly so that you have to say, okay guys, I told you we need to work on this. That was wrong, we need to work on that now. So you want to have, like at the Ford belt, conveyor belt, they do this all day long, all day long, all day long. They crunch out code like crazy. And the more code they crunch out, the better it is. Because that's what gets you the speed to deliver solutions. So this is the ODB version, and it's, I have to say, sorry guys, it's 3 months old. It changed in the meantime, but I didn't have time to update all of that. But it's a global portfolio planning layer, program management layer, and team execution layer. We simplified that. And you can have a look at it when you get the presentation. It's really much Much easier to understand than the other chart I showed you before. So portfolio level. Where the PMO needs to be. We will not call it PMO anymore. Don't. Maybe LPM, lean portfolio management or something like this. Or aPMO, Agile Project Management Office, or anything like that. But if you wanna incur a change and you want it to stick, don't call it something where the people associated with being stubborn, being inflexible, being a name change, even though it's the same people doing the same thing. If you change the name, it's a new start. Just a little inside tip from me. What is the difference between a portfolio and a project list? Good question, glad you asked. A project list is based on the waterfall approach. Every project is a single project. Even if it is broken down into sub-project, it's still managed as an overall project. Lots of projects in there. Not sure if that is clear, but it will be clear if I explain what is a portfolio. On the other hand, a list of projects that belong to a certain category of work value stream, but are not typically connected. What do I mean by that? Example is a web page. You have a web page for something, and then somebody says, hey, a mobile app would be nice, which we can use with this. Yeah, and then in our case, there is a book that goes along with that web page. And then we have a CD, and maybe a video podcast for an effort that's in the same value stream. So if you look at it from a PMO, these are sub-projects at best. Sometimes you are not even aware that somebody is doing a video or podcast, but with the value stream, these all comes up in the same discussion. And then you go and say, okay, what's first, what's second, what's next? Okay, what is the timeline for this, what is the timeline for that? And then completely different teams are working on this, but guess what? They have one value stream. They all know exactly what the other team is doing, so you have full visibility. And since you can split it up, you have speed. Portfolio level, second thoughts, KPI. Who loves KPIs? Okay, one, two, couple. Okay, what is the challenge with KPIs? You can, yeah. I can create the KPI who is in my favor. And most of the time the business wants to have KPIs which are hard to get by, because it's a pain in the hiney to get this information in one place and then also do a proper adjustment so that it's meaningful. It's cost, time, resources is most of the time one of those components is behind the KPI, right? Value stream budget is what we have for SAFE. And I'm telling you, when I did this the first time, my financial colleagues were crawling up the walls, and they said, like, this is impossible, we can't do it that way, we've never done it like this. I said, oh man, you're so old-fashioned. And then I explained them what we are doing. Today, they ask me, okay, so we have, in your budget, we have $1 million for this year. Do you think you need the $1 million, or you need more or less? So we sit down, we talk about it, and we say, okay, you cap it by $1,100,000. I will manage with $1,100,000. Don't worry about it. So they go completely bonkers, because never ever had a PMO told them that $1,100,000 for this year is going to be enough. Guess what? I just deliver until I run out of money, and then I said, okay, if you want to do us to do this in addition to it, oh yeah, that would be awesome. Okay, that costs you another $300,000. So we have a rolling budget they come to me and they said like, okay, so what is the spend on this? I said, why do you care? I don't care. I don't care, why do you care? I said, I have that much budget, I have that much stuff to do, and as we go, I consume the budget, and guess what? Even if you say, that's it, I don't give you a dime more, I deliver results and stuff that works already. So it's not like with another project where the planning and programming and putting in place takes forever and a day, and if you cut it now, the results will be either you have something or you have nothing. So that's different with this approach. So the lean budgeting process can substantially simplify the financial governance. And you know, when you go down to this, is old school is pass or fail with a budget, all or nothing. With a safe or agile is it's there. Can we enhance it is the question. And the other question, or the other answer is not yet 100%. So we are not yet 100% there, but we can work towards that. So the good news is, even if you stop a project after 80% of the money that is spent, you still have something that is tangible to the business as an operational whatsoever, you name it, but fill in the blank. They have something in their hands because every 6 weeks they get something delivered which is useful for them. So, program level. That's just a snippet out of their chart on the program level. They contain roles and activities needed to continuously deliver solution via agile release train. Don't get pulled into this. This is a lot of Chinese, so don't worry about it. This is what is important. You define the functionality, you implement that, you have the user acceptance testing. If it's okay, you deploy, you will go back. Define your functionality. It's a never-ending circle, if you so want. You repeat that over and over and over again. And as I said, every 6 weeks we go through such a cycle. Program level, what does that mean? This means that the portfolio level lines up what is called an epic. An epic is a big idea, for a value stream into the backlog. So they put that down into my next level. They say, this is what we want to do. Something with the user experience. I want the user to have the capability to sign up online and see all his transactions he does with our company. Just he logs in and he can see everything, all the paperwork, all the orders he placed, all the invoices he received, for an example. That could be an epic. On the program level, we start to divide that up and we say, all right, so he needs to be able to log on. That's one of the components. Then, oh yeah, we need to show the orders. We need to show the orders he placed with us. That's a specific topic, and we focus on that. And we do this in a Kanban principle. So we pull one of those and say, okay, we are just working on the logon and the profile for the customer at this point in time.
I'm just a little curious in the finance, back a couple slides, and rather than allocating funding per project, it seems like you allocate funding for an operational team, but do you allocate any labor back to those user stories, or do you know how much a certain initiative costs you if you had to ever charge back?
Yeah, we do. And we go through this and you will see some more of that. I'm not talking about an IS team only. One of my agile teams consists of developers marketing guys, finance guys, content guys. You have not only IS in there. It's-
Finance guys are in an Agile team?
Yeah. If they are needed, yeah,
Oh, okay.
absolutely. I mean, if I do something for finance, we better make sure that the finance guy sits on that team. But I will, if we have more questions regarding this, we can swing back to that. So the program level breaks the epics down into features, just what I said. How do I log on as a user? What is required for that? What does it mean when I say I want to see all the invoices? Is this all the invoices since Adam and Eve? Or whatever, all those kinds of definitions need to happen. And then the last level is the team level. So it's what I said, the factory or the shop floor or production. Features are broken down into stories. So if you say like, okay, how does this team make sure that I can log on? So they break it down into even smaller pieces. And by saying smaller pieces, have to fit into a 2-week sprint. The sprint is 2 weeks. So they break it down. Let's say we have one feature, we have an epic that breaks down into 10 features. That breaks down into 5 stories each. We have 50 stories for one high-level feature. And that's also why you see that on the top level I have big square boxes. The next level I have much more but smaller boxes, and on the bottom level I have really small boxes but a ton of them. So as long as the backlog for the team level is filled, these guys are happy as pie because they don't have to sit around, they don't have to go and look for work, they are not overwhelmed because you know how it is. All of a sudden you have a heap like this and they give you 5 weeks time to work through that, and you say, can't do this, impossible. And guess what? Your focus is on, why do this give me so much work to do if even they know that I cannot manage that in that time. So lots of their thought process is on why can I not do that, and try to explain to everybody why they cannot do this. If you do it this way, they don't care. It's a backlog. So I do what I have to do, what I can do, and we have a backlog maybe for 6-7 sprints. It's not my deal to think about that, because somebody else's job is to prioritize that and to let me know what I should work on. And a standing quote, which I always give people, is, if you think the time of the IS team is best used by cleaning the windows of the building, we will do that. Because you tell us what you want us to work on, and if that's the best use of our time, so be it, So what if we do not change? Question is...
Jay, just one quick question.
Sure.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here a little bit.
Oh, you're not the only one.
Everything I'm seeing is driven towards a development effort,
Yeah.
basically. How do you apply this to infrastructure-related things? How can you have a sprint with infrastructure?
What do you want solved in the infrastructure level? Just an example.
I need to reconfigure routers, and I can't do just half of them at a time.
Okay.
So I've got, 100 routers.
Okay.
How do you break that up? How do you not look at that in waterfall mode?
That's a very good question.
And I have to be fully transparent. I'm a big waterfall guy. Yes,
and you?
Or Matt will verify that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Dr. Waterfall.
And my answer to this is, there are always exceptions to the rule.
Okay.
And my IT team, you see I have the IS team, and I have the IT team. IT is base infrastructure. I call them the plumbers. because they need to make sure that the plumbing and the
Yep.
electricity and
Yeah.
comparable
Yeah.
example is working. Agile for these types of projects is not feasible.
Thank you.
Not feasible.
Well, you could also approach that in the Kanban method, so if you need 100 servers installed in one
Kanban's
sprint.
different than
Yeah, yeah.
Agile.
Yeah.
Well, no,
That's-
but he mentioned Kanban.
Yeah, but
That's-
we're talking
yeah.
apples and asparagus almost.
Yeah, I'm with him on that one. Kanban is organizing the work so that I can pull from that. So if one of the projects is upgrade 100 routers, you pull that task in and you get it done. Agile is different. Agile is breaking up a job like this into, okay, we do North America first, then we do that. That can be in an agile way, where stuff moves according to whatever I can achieve in a time frame.
Well, who's to say you don't have to do that for 100 routers located in multiple buildings, multiple floors, multiple closets, and you sit down with a team and self-organized that says, these are the order we're gonna do this in.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this right here within this day and this day, and then you schedule it out, pull them off of the board,
Yeah.
show progress, and it's got visibility. Does
Correct.
that have elements of agile?
You can use agile for that, but agile is small units of jobs.
But you're doing small batches, but you have 100 routers, you're not doing all 100 at once. You're pulling a batch of 5 to 10 at a time. You take a look at your team, how much time does it take to do it? The team is self-organized, so you
Right.
determine, okay, we have the capacity to do 5
Right.
of these a day.
Right.
Based on our capacity right now.
Right.
So you have to, you can plan that out based on that, and you let them go.
Yeah.
You don't have somebody down your task master, you have to do this and do that.
You're right, but looking at the task at hand, the task at hand is done when all 100 are upgraded. For example, I am recabling my building. The planning can be in an agile fashion, but there are blocks of work that blow the agile principle of every 2 weeks there is something done, and every 6 weeks there is a delivery. They might go several of those releases until you have the result.
But you're looking at stages too, whether it's a.
Yeah,
that we have to have
but
20
you
done
have
at a
stages
time.
in the project.
Right.
So, yes, I agree with you. Not everything is
No.
agile compatible.
Not everything is incompatible.
And not everything is correct. So, but typically my IT team is not in the agile movement, but they are involved in agile teams. If it is, I need a server for this, I need to have commissioned a server for that, I need to have a database specified for this, then they are part of an agile team and they can work agile. But fundamental plumbing issues are not dealt with by
That also,
agile.
does that mean life cycle refreshes are really part of operations and not projects?
Correct. Correct. So, going back, change, relevant. Are we still relevant, yes or no? Of course we are relevant. So in today's time and day, nobody has time to wait. Did you realize that? Are you kind of impatient, except when it comes to your work? Yeah. So am I. I ordered something from Amazon Friday afternoon, and it was delivered on Sunday after lunch. I was like, that's crazy. Friday at 5 o'clock, I ordered something. Sunday after lunch, I got it in my inbox. I was like, oh, that's freaky fast.
You can actually order through about 11:59 p.m. if you order the right item.
Yeah, that's right. I did not expect that to come in that quick. And that did not. So how long do you want to wait? How long do you want to wait? Right? Based on your answer to this, do you think the right answer to relevant is yes or no? You know, if you're not willing to wait, probably the change of the PMO over to a more agile fashion, the answer is yes, that is what we need to do. there is a movement, and you know that, Jeff. You were at the training camp where the guy was presenting on no projects. First attempt, I was tempted to strangle him before he could say a word, because I thought that's absolutely offensive. But then I listened to his speech, and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, absolutely. So if not, then just Google no projects, and you will see what this is all about. So how do we overcome the challenges? First things first, is your company ready for the change? Guys, if your company is not ready for the change, you have an uphill battle. Believe me. Been there, done that. I have some battle scars on my back and everywhere. But yeah, it takes time. Are you ready to change the culture, not only of your team and yourself, but be a big influencer that the company's culture needs to change? Not just adjust, change. Do you have the support from the top management? That's what it boils down to. If they say, yeah, you know, if you want to do that fancy thing here, go ahead and try it, and if it doesn't work, we can always go back. No, it's a one-way street. There's no turning around, and there is no, we try it for a little while. Either you're in with both feet or stay out. Because if you're not in with both feet, it will be a disaster. I can tell you. So, do you have a plan? This is a 3 to 5 year process. I started in 2013, end of 2013, with Lean. Now it's early 2019, so I'm already 5 years into it. And next week we have a discussion where we look at how do we roll out Agile and save to the whole ministry. I was asked in 2014, roll it out to the whole ministry. And I said, oh, hold your horses. We can't do this. Because there needs to be a mindset change before you can roll it out. And it takes a while. It's not fast and furious. It's the turtle approach when it comes to rolling it out. Okay? Start in the area you can control and start small. Okay? Start in an area you can control. I call it have fun for the books. It's always easy when you have a story to tell, and it's always easy when the story is positive, because you can actually say, remember when we did that? How did that work? Great, exactly, we want to do the next project just like that. Key players need to be trained. Don't expect a master out of reading one book. It's not happening. You have to train the people. We're going to spend almost $150,000 US in training the leadership and some or most of the Scrum members. And when you say like, wait a minute, they are doing Scrum, so you train them, so you didn't train them before? I did. But guess what? Nothing sticks more than a nice kick in the butt every now and then, because you go like, yes, you said that. That's right, that's how we do it. A reminder and retraining every year or so, just for the core team, is necessary. And you people are not starting in an Agile team unless they went through a basic training and know what it is all about. And why do I say that? Why are you doing it that way? If we do it that way, it's much faster. Yeah, right, we just created a shortcut and it will haunt us. So let's not do that. Get the nagging issue solved with Agile and show that it works. Something they say, we are always struggling with this and nobody found a solution to that. It never works. We tried this, that, and the other thing. So sort that out first. In my tools, in ODB, I started it. We teamed up with marketing. We had some tremendous success with some of the stuff we did. And we were waiting for people to go like, how do you do this, guys? This is amazing. You know, that's so freaky fast. You know, and you go like, yeah. Then get them to want to know more and get involved in it. Then bring them on board. And this is sometimes better. Do it bottom up. Do it bottom up. But also have somebody who is constantly talking about it on the executive level. But you cannot, a change like this never works top down. Sorry. If the CEO says something, everybody goes like, yeah, this year is that. Remember last year when he said that? Never happened. Never happened. But if it comes from bottom up and you get the management support to do that, it's going to stick.
But you just contradicted yourself there. You said
Yeah,
work bottoms
that
up.
happens often. Okay?
We can agree on that. But you say work bottoms up, but then you need a sponsor or a leader to be an advocate. To me, how do you, what's the best way to approach those? Because they are indeed contradictory statements. Let's say you go to a sponsor who you think is going to be a sponsor.
Yeah.
So I, with all disclosure, I started a new role about 7 weeks ago at Gentex. Fabulous company, great West Michigan company. If you don't believe it, just look at the stock returns for the last 15 years. Wonderful company, great employees, but there is not one PMP. Jeff told me there was one, but that person's no longer there. There's not one PMP in the company, which is surprising to me. They probably have over 30 or 40 people doing project management. They were doing software project management, hardware project management, and they still are. But they're going through some transition there. But let's say, yeah, so help me with that. How do you get somebody to be a sponsor, yet how do you work bottoms up? And if you try to get a sponsor, let's say you struggle.
The block is not the top level. The block is the middle management.
So go after a middle management sponsor, is what you're saying.
No.
Okay.
That's why I say work it bottom up. Bottom up.
Bottom being,
From the team level up.
but you also said try to have an executive sponsor, is that right?
That's right.
And let's say you don't succeed at that.
Well, you know, the president told me roll it out in 2014. And I said, no, can't do.
Yeah.
So that was my sponsor. Because I
got
kept
it.
him,
You kept the conversation going even though you didn't have agreement.
I kept him informed,
Yeah.
but the next level down said like, yeah, right. As if I as a PMO would know what the business really need. You know, these guys, they are dreamers and, you know, fantasy, football team, whatever, you know. Yeah, but you have to work it from bottom up. That's why we teamed up with marketing. We got like, hey guys, what if we do this together? What if we do it this way? And they say, I don't know what you're talking about. They say, come on, let's sit down, let's talk through this. Marketing was on fire. They say like, wow, that sounds really great, let's try this. We did a project, it showed to be successful. And then you start infiltrating the next level. You know, if I'm a mid-level manager, which I am, and you look at what's coming top down and what people bottom up want to do, it's like I say, I want to be the meat at least. The meat with two, you know, you have a piece of bread
Make
on
a
top.
sandwich, yeah.
Yeah. So you're always in the middle of everything. So now either you go along with that and you think that's a great idea, or you feel yourself threatened.
But to net this out, you are a CIO. You are
Yeah.
C-level executive. You have the
Yeah.
executive sponsor
Yeah.
right here.
And by the way, I gotta turn the recording off.
No. That's true. That's true. But I'm a VP. Okay.
You're also CIO. You're
Yeah,
C-suite,
yeah.
so you can go
Yeah,
to the team
yeah,
level.
Good point,
You,
Matt. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but-
very challenging, right? I even, just after I asked you, I was like, Maybe I shouldn't have had this on camera.
No, that's okay.
But I mean, you know.
You're it's perfectly valid statement.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's already on Twitter?
Yeah. You know the thing,
Let's just say,
until he posts on social media, but that's another
You
day.
plug their stuff.
Yeah. But you know, it's what I said before to a couple of people here. When I enter a meeting of an agile team,
Yeah.
I leave my title at the door. I'm just one of them. Even the new person just joined last week, or the intern which is invited into that meeting, has the same say and the same voting power as I do. Okay? So that's why I say it's an absolute team approach. As a VP of IS or VP of PMO, where am I on the scale of, you have guys who are really power players, and you have guys who are really the nitty-gritty detail guys, and you have guys that are like financial guys. Most of them are in a specific hole where they want to cross the T's and dot the I's. Then there are the guys who have 50,000 ideas before breakfast. So you have those guys all in the same meeting. If they go on talking for too long, I go like, stop it! This is what we do. That's when my character comes through, which I have to have under control.
Sure.
Because no, I'm not telling them what to do. I told them in the backlog, this is what I want. You get it done. Every way you think is the best solution, fine with me. But sometimes, it's difficult to.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what I got at, you start at the mid-level, and you really start to work it, and if you're
Yeah.
working correctly and you're visiting the topic multiple times,
Yeah.
iterations, then you're gonna
Yeah.
make progress and you're gonna pull.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, so celebrate. Celebrate wins. And now I have to speed up a little bit here. Morph as you go. You have one team, you move on, and you create another team. So it's important that you start small, but then do like waves. Include more and more people in this. 2 teams, 3 teams. We do something like jump starts, and you can read through that later on. Jump start is an idea where you have an upfront meeting where you have everybody relevant at the table, and they give you input upfront before you even start anything. Okay, why we are still relevant? Yeah, that's a good one. So I think what changes and why? Speed. We are no longer ready to wait. Customer focus. Did anybody ever say, I want it my way? I don't care how you do this, but I want it this way. We are all egocentric people. It's all about me, myself, and I. And I don't care how you want it, Paul. That might be okay for you, but anyway, you get the drift. And even worse, I don't care about the organization. I worked at Johnson & Johnson, and I had the unfortunate position that I was serving 3 different divisions. One division had SAP, the other one had BPix, the other one had JD Edwards. And they all wanted reporting out of those systems. And guess what? Top management didn't care what system they had. They wanted their way, And then it's funny when you have a customer on the line who wants to have surgical instruments, and you are in surgical instrument business, and you say, sure, anytime, yes, absolutely. And then you say, by the way, I need baby powder. And you go, that's consumer. Can I give you the number? And they say, you know what? What does it say on the label? Johnson & Johnson baby powder, maybe? And you say, yeah, and whom am I talking to? Johnson & Johnson. He says, stop right there. See, that's where I stop. I don't care, you get me the baby powder, or I'll go to the competition. That's what's the daily business. I don't care about your organization behind I want it my way. Attention span of people. It was 23 seconds before, it's 8.5 seconds. 8.5 seconds, and they make a decision if they continue or not. You know how 8.5 seconds is? I already, when I started to explain, that's way past. Customer experience. I want to look at the web page. I want to have it on the app the same way. And no matter what I do and what I get, I want the user experience to be the same everywhere. What does that mean for a project?
Actually, and I'll add to that. I also want it on my phone. I want it now because it's my record-keeping system.
Yeah.
You know, so people want it like, yes, this is going to be published. I've got access to your slides.
Yeah.
But I want it now that I can reference it this afternoon or. It's
See,
also
I told
my
you
phone.
put it up before because anyway.
Yeah.
Customer experience. You know, same look and feel. What does that mean for the project? I'm absolutely with you on that.
Yeah.
We need to talk weeks, not months, guys. And ladies, sorry. We cannot implement new products without user involvement. Don't. If you are a PMO guy, you don't know what the customer wants. If you're an IS guy, even worse. Even worse. But look at this feature. Nobody gives a rip about this feature. You know, stop bringing that up. We need to integrate everything. One-stop shopping. Know your customer. It needs to be intuitive and easy to use. You need to capture your customer. Seamless integration and feel for all things. Iterative rather than all-encompassing solution. Get started with something and follow it. Make it better and better and better. You like it when you have something and you say, well, that's pretty neat. And 2 weeks later you get an update, whoops, on your iPhone, right? Ever see that, update? And you look at it and it's like, wow, yeah, they have an update. Wonder what is new. You go in and say, oh, I like that interface, that's pretty, oh, I can do this now, great. 6 weeks later you get another update, now you can do more. You keep your customer excited. What if you do a once and for all? After 3 times usage, they're gonna not use it anymore. And sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, quick and dirty is better than all singing and dancing solutions. And that goes back to what you said, I want it now. You know, I want this presentation on my phone, yeah. Okay, so if it's not the perfect thing on your phone, you said, well, at least I got it quick,
Yeah.
you know? Okay. New things we need to learn. How can we make it faster? And by faster, I mean 24 to 48 hours, not weeks. If you have a request, don't tell them, I'll come back to you. Give them a feedback in 24 to 48 hours. How can we have cost control and reporting on progress done? Assign costs to value streams, not to projects. Every release adds value to the business and unlocks additional features. What is really the need to do well in the future? Project management office needs to transform into a lean portfolio management office. New things we need to learn, and I go through this, you can read them on your own. Lots of things. Salesforce implementation, my favorite topic. Quick description, in over 30 offices we want to implement. This is the internal team, and I spare you to read through all of this. Bunch of people. I protect the team from assassination attempts. And you have that in business, believe me. That's when they say, I need Charlie, and I need Charlie today because we have another issue. I say, go where the pepper grows, I don't care. Charlie is on that team. It's not available. This person is not available for you. The team is self-organizing. Don't interfere with the team when they do something. They know better than you do. Believe me. I learned that the hard way sometimes. We have an implementation partner, traction on demand. We have team. We have a virtual team. So our team is expanded with external people. And just so that you know, my team is not US only. My team is Indonesia, Singapore, and all the companies around the globe. So I have people from UK, Asia Pac, wherever they are, working on that team. And coordinating that is sometimes a little difficult. But yeah, it's amazing how that works. So I asked Traction, I said, okay guys, I put that on your eye. You had to follow the processes. What is it that you like? Agile, when done right, allows us to shorten time to value, you know? And then strong awareness of current state, rapid cycling required, and reinforced alignment across the combined technical team, enabling the technical independence of the customer, etc., etc. So that's the benefits. The challenge is we didn't properly establish a well-defined Agile framework. Lack of early executive alignment. So guess what? I forgot to talk to their CEO on a regular basis, and sometimes, so we did that. We spent more than anticipated time upfront defining and refining. So that's the drawback. That's what we had to fix. Appreciates our commitment to Agile. So what they do considered a strong model for other engagements. So they will use that. Just so you know, my development team is on par with their specialists. They said we have never seen a company who has that strong of a development team. Usually that's not what we see. So strengthen the alignment between both teams and create one of the strongest partner-client relationships we've ever seen. That's the benefits. Save for 5. Again, that's the chart. Portfolio layer, that's our portfolio layer. Simple, isn't it? So you see, this is the queue. This is planning. This is the sites that were live, and this is way back. That's July last year. Program layer, according to SAFe, looks complicated, our program layer. This is the planning we do it on the board, we have people who are responsible for it, boom, 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 boom. You can look through this when you get the presentation. Team layer. We use Jira to manage all the work we have. Conclusion, alignment is not an option, it's a must. Now it's time to act. If you want to be relevant, you need to lead your team, the Agile movement, the business side. You need to have a seat at the table. That makes it much easier. Or at least a strong advocate in the executive level of your company. It's hard. It's not a walk in the park. Conclusion number 2, may need some external resources to help you get the message across. As you know, the profit in your own country doesn't count a lot, sometimes. And you know, sometimes it's also funny. They talk to an external company and then they say like, oh yeah, that's what you said too. Understand that it's not going to happen in the next couple of weeks. It's hard. Questions? I know I was speeding through it.
Your 3-hour presentation was effectively crunched into 1 hour.
Whew. Yeah, sorry about that.
Do you have any questions for Jay? All right, let's go ahead.